I have a stubborn migraine. I have a stubborn migraine today, so I have to take it easy with my speaking. I saw somebody do like an interview type of thing, and she was talking like in a really particular way, and it was really like triggering me in a not so positive way. And then I started feeling like, oh gosh, like, do I do that to people? Because I'm also like really particular in how I particular in how I speak. Having said that, like the whole world is problematic at the moment. Like we all have problems with each other, so I can't be sad at potential people who don't like the way that I speak, even though that makes me really sad. What a contradiction. I said I can't be sad, and then I said I am sad. I can't care too much even though I'm sad. I can't care past a certain point, you know. I can't go trying to change myself basically. But today you're not gonna get the same energy from me anyway, because I'm fighting a migraine as per usual. To be honest, this is the first migraine that I've had since I became sober. I'll talk about my sobriety like another time, because I have to like be at least sober for like 1 year for me to be able to talk about it otherwise. Doesn't really count, does it? But today is sobriety, just under 1 week. Tomorrow it'll be 1 week. So I went to the shop and I bought like 2 more of these and 2 more of the pink ones, because my niece and nephews always asking if they could take them home, and I'm like, leave my toys alone. And the woman, she must have thought I was a weirdo, so then I had to explain to her why I was like holding them like they mattered. Because I was like, oh, they have them, and it was so perfect. They had 2 of each. Wait. My voice is rising. I'm gonna go see a chiropractor. I think that's what they're called. I'm a bit scared because what if he kills me? Actually, that would be great. You know, like when they go cut, and then like, what if I just die by accident? Like, is that possible? So I'm gonna sit sideways today because I've got a really short skirt on, because when I bought this dress, I didn't realize it would be so short. And then I can't really sit that way, because I have to open my legs, and I'm gonna be like this for the whole video. Not that you care, so why did I just say all of that? Oops. Soon I'm gonna have to start repeating all of the rings that I wear every time. To be honest, I've not even shown you all of the ones that I've done, but I had to wear green with green, and I'm sure this one I've worn before. This one I probably haven't. It's so funny, one day I was watching like how to make rings on YouTube, and then I ordered some wire. No, that's what I ordered, is the wire, and then my mum has like stones everywhere around the house, and I just started collecting. And then she started bringing me some, like, oh, do a ring with this one, do a ring with that one. So I did, just so you can see the proper design of what I got up to. No, I don't think you can see it. I don't think it's focusing. Hopefully my friend will come next week, and I'm going to interview him. I don't know how I'm gonna fit 2 people here. I think I'm gonna have to sit here, and he's gonna have to sit here, and we're gonna have to be like tight. But I'm going to ask him about oral sex. I think that's what I want to do. I don't know why it's such a big deal. Like, please, let me ask you about oral sex. Let me ask you what you like. Let that be normal and legal. Please don't take my video down for talking about things like that. I don't think they were anyway, but I'm just saying that, like, I just think that these things should be normal. Like, please, let's talk about it. Let's get comfortable. And then also, I don't know if I'm like the only one, but I want to be good at all things. And so then if I'm going to be like doing oral sex, then I want to know what I'm doing. I want to make sure that it's nice. So it's quite funny, because I was like, right, let me see where the origins of oral sex came from. So then I Googled, where did oral sex come from? And then and then it said, on Google, it said fellatio. What? And I was like, fellatio? And I've heard this like word before somewhere. I didn't realize that it meant oral sex, like fellatio, or is it called fellatio? I think it's called fellatio. Fellatio, I don't know. I think it's called fellatio. And then he said fellatio, and I was like, why fellatio? Why not oral sex? So then Google said fellatio has been doing, no, I don't know what the words were, but it's been happening since the beginning of time. I don't know what the exact words were, right? But Google advised me that fellatio is very common from the very beginnings of human expressions of sexuality. Do you know what, right? I'm trying to be honest with myself here. Like, Nayna, why did I just say my name? I don't like saying my name. why are you doing these videos? Why are you talking about oral sex? Like, let people experiment by themselves, let them go learn by themselves, and yet I'm here kind of going, oh, I'm gonna talk about it. And I think it's because, right, things that I enjoy, I also want to reciprocate, because I don't want to be a selfish person. And if I want to reciprocate it, I want to be able to like really be amazing at it. And I feel like if I feel like that, then that means that loads of people feel like that. And if I can feel insecure, like, oh, what am I doing? What am I supposed to be doing? How are you supposed to be feeling? Because when people do oral sex on me, I'm not going to use the word fellatio going forward because it's even an ugly word. When people, and I'm not going to go saying the other words either because I don't want to keep beeping everything either. So I'm just going to say oral sex for the rest of the video. So when people do oral sex on me, sometimes they get it right and sometimes they get it horribly, horribly wrong. And so then if they can get it horribly wrong, can I get it horribly wrong? And up until my 30s, because now I'm in my 30s, up until my 30s, I would care so much about the guy's feelings that even if I wasn't enjoying the oral sex, I was about to say fellatio, even if I wasn't enjoying it, I would keep the noises going because I didn't want him to know that I wasn't enjoying it. Whereas now it's like, stop it, I don't like what you're doing. So now I'm more honest. So if I could be a bit of a pretender, then what about if the man is pretending to, because there's a lot of confident girls, and because I obviously go around asking people questions, and there's a lot of confident girls that's like, no, trust me, I know when he likes it because of his noises. And I'm thinking, but somebody will say that about me, like, oh, she was doing noises like this and like that, so then she liked it, and meanwhile I did not. And I always say to my dog, he's not my dog, he is my dog, but he doesn't live with me. He's a family dog, and now my brother lives with him somewhere else. But I always say to him that, I know he can't understand me, but I always say to him, Teddy, why do you not even care? Like, he would just like seem to be pleasing himself in front of everybody. Anyway, so I think even in animals, they wanna, I think it's just everywhere in nature basically, right? Where wanting a different type of pleasure that doesn't involve the hands and it doesn't involve the genitals is quite common. And to be honest, did you also have the thought when you were younger that you wished you could do it on yourself? Let's be honest, because I did. I was like, I want to do it to myself, why can't? Do you know what? People who find this stuff disgusting would listen to that and they'll be like, ugh. Meanwhile, I'm like, yes, I want to do it on myself. It's like, but that's how sexual I was as a kid. I wanted to be able to give myself oral sex because I wanted it so much. I didn't even say the title of the video. Why do we reject oral sex? For those of you who do not know what oral sex is, fellatio, is when, of course, most people know what this is, so I'm just being black and white here. Oral sex is when you are pleased in your genital areas with the mouth instead of the hands or other genitals. You are pleased sexually with the mouth, hence it being oral, because oral means mouth, I think. And I think some people just have like this like ick about hygiene, and they just have this like imagination, because that's all that I see in my son. I think that's all that it is an imagination of what it is that's happening and how you're scared of what's happening. So for example, my son, he cannot eat anything without washing his hands. Even if he's washed his hands an hour ago, if I give him his dinner, he has to go and wash it again, because I feel like we have this fear that things are happening that they're not supposed to be happening, and then I am in control of making sure that I'm safe, like washing my hands and brushing my teeth and making sure that I don't put poo in my mouth. Like, can you imagine if somebody put poo in their mouth? They'll probably have a heart attack thinking they're gonna die, and really they're not gonna die. It's just disgusting. Sorry, I don't want to make myself gag, but it's just like disgusting to put things that are disgusting inside of your mouth. But having said that, for me, genitals are not disgusting. So is that what the problem is? Is that if you rejecting oral sex, do you feel like genitals are disgusting? Is it that like this like necessary thing that's actually disgusting, and you don't know why it's there or why you want it to be pleased, and so therefore you quickly do it with like genital to genital just to get it out of the way, get the pleasure, and ignore the fact that it's happening because really it's disgusting. Like, genitals are disgusting. And actually, technically, maybe people who find genitals disgusting, maybe they don't even want sex either, and to procreate is like a real big task for them because they have to put genitals on genitals to procreate. Unless you're rich and you're able to do it in another way, but if you're not rich, you have to put genitals to genitals to procreate. So then if people who are disgusted with their genitals and other people's genitals, do you find it really hard to like even procreate? And so then you're not into sex and stuff because you find these things hygienically disgusting. And I could only assume, see, because before we know about hygiene and germs and stuff like that, which I didn't teach my son all these things, so I don't know why he's like this. It was either his auntie or his school that taught him about germs and stuff, because I didn't teach him about that stuff. Like, yes, I made him wash his hands, but I didn't tell him why. And so then his obsession with it didn't come from me. So before we're told about germs and about things harming you and bacteria and not being allowed in your mouth, otherwise this and that, before we're told that, we're children innocently getting on with life. Mind you, there are some people who naturally don't like the feelings of certain things. Like my niece, she doesn't like sand. She doesn't like the feeling of sand. And it could be that there's something in the brain that is having a bad reaction to some type of visual. Do people have bad reactions to pleasure? Like, oh, pleasure, I hate this feeling. Because is that possible? Do you know what? If I could, I'd split myself up into millions of myself, so then I could go asking all these people questions and I could talk to all of them and ask them like, how did you get to where you got to? Why do you hate pleasure? Or why do you hate this? Why do you hate that? And I'm sure we will get to the bottom of how 1 + 1 = 2. And if 1 wasn't there, then you wouldn't have gotten to 2. And so then can we fix the problem by going backwards and adding another number, so now you're on to 3 instead of 2? And you know, can we fix these relationships that we've built in our brains as to why we reject certain things based on hygiene or trauma? And the trauma one's quite interesting because then it's not really about the mind, it's about experience, right? So for example, if you don't like certain smells and you experience certain smells on yourself, or if you one day try to give oral sex to your boyfriend and then you were rudely exposed to certain tastes and smells that you were like, what is that? And then you became traumatized thinking that all genitals taste and smell this way. So have we built a stigma around, you know, unhealthy genitals that have not been washed or that are having problems, and then we go and try to do oral sex on those problematic areas, and then we get traumatized because it's just like, that's just disgusting. It tastes disgusting, it smells disgusting. Having said that, again, some people, I had such a long pause there because I'm just thinking to myself, should I go into like all of this hygiene about like smelly genitals or not? Because like I had a friend and we used to like talk deeply about this and I feel like at one point we got to an agreement that maybe what somebody thinks is a vagina smell that doesn't smell very nice, to somebody else they're like, oh, I love that smell, give it more, give it more. And somebody would be like, oh yeah, that sweet vagina smell. And then somebody would be like, oh yeah, that fishy vagina smell. And then somebody else would be like, oh yeah, that tangy vagina smell. And we're all calling it different things, and are we like all talking about the same thing or not? Like, I don't know. So then I want to go around like smelling people's things to kind of say like, what is that and what is that? But to be honest, I don't know. I haven't gotten to the bottom of all of this smelling stuff of vaginas and genitals and stuff like that. I've not gotten to the bottom of it, so that's why I'm a bit skeptical into going into that area in this conversation. So I am going to pause there, and I will be back talking about stuff like that at another time when I've done more research, because the doctors of this world, they're not advanced enough to speak in ways that are very clear. Like if you Google something or if you ask your doctor something, they all just like not very clear at all. Like they'll say something like, oh, your vagina shouldn't smell fishy, but all vaginas have odor. And it's like, so what's the odor? What does the odor smell like? And nobody ever explains these things, and it's actually really, really irritating. And then sometimes, because you smelt something on yourself, you may reject it in others because you're embarrassed of it in yourself. And what if that was the you know, the sweet smell that person over there says that they love? Like, oh yeah, that sweet vagina smell, like, oh it's like really peachy and da-da-da. And they're talking about the same thing you're talking about, but you've been traumatized by your smell, so now you're calling it this. And look, I know, yeah, that there's a difference between a vagina smell and a infection smell, there is a clear one, because one makes you gag and the other one doesn't make you gag. Like the other one makes you kind of go, what is that? And you want to smell it more and more to kind of figure it out. Whereas when it's an infection, you do not want to smell that again. I do not want to smell that again. Anyways, there's a massive conversation around hygiene and trauma as to why we reject oral sex. My camera's about to hit the 30-minute mark, so let me start a new video. 1 second. But here we are. We don't have understanding of the natural self, like, because to be honest with you, I'd prefer if like all parts of my body had no smell. Actually, no, that's not true. I want to have a smell. I want to have a smell that's like, because when I fall in love with guys, yeah, like a lot of the time they have like this smell to them, and that it makes my heart like flutter, like when I smell it, and I really like it. So actually I do want to have a smell. I just don't want to have no bad smells. So actually technically I do want to have smells everywhere, just nice ones. You know, like you get scented candles, it's like, yeah, that's how I want to smell inside and out. I don't see why not either. And also I knew somebody who, like, on paper they were very healthy, and I didn't like the way that they smelt at all. And also I tasted somebody before, and they were very fussy eaters, so they didn't eat all things. They ate like one particular thing, so they didn't mix up their food a lot, and I didn't like the way that they tasted. So when people say like, oh, you should eat loads of fruits and be really healthy and then you're gonna taste this way, like I don't know if that's true or not. And so here we are, we have no understanding of the natural self, of how can you attain what you want. Like, oh, I want to taste like this, I want to smell like this, I want to look like this, like, and we're not very clear. Because like if I go to the gym, mate, I went to the gym for like 6 months, right? Do you think I was able to get a flat stomach ever? Oh no. Nah. No. Okay, I can't bother to show you, but whatever. My stomach is not flat. So I feel like when we fix the world and we have access to like the whole of ourselves, like the oneness of who we are, I feel like these are one of the first things I'm gonna go to. Like, how can I smell and taste and look exactly the way that I want to? Please tell me how. Anyways, hygiene aside, right, there is something really enticing which I was so obsessed with it when I was younger. Like now, not so much. I don't know why. Maybe I've been traumatized through all of these things in the past that I've experienced in others or myself, that I'm like, I don't know. To be honest though, I'm not that traumatized, because give it to me now. Like now, right now, yes. Wow. But I am a little bit more like, oh, are we gonna do this type of thing? Because the other thing as well is that we don't talk enough about it. I don't have enough information about it. And plus I've been like obsessing about changing the world and talking about God and stuff with myself, that I've kind of abandoned all other things. And so then I'm not the most confident, in oral sex, and I want to be. I even said to my friend, I said I want to be like the best oral sex giver. I'm trying to not use the word that I used with her, because obviously I didn't say that to her, like I want to be the best oral sex giver. That's not what I said. And so does she, and she thinks she is, like, and when I say the best, I don't mean the best compared to other women. I just mean like I want to be great at that. Why? Because I like it. And it actually came to a point where it's like, I like it, I want to do that. I don't have a man to do it too, because I'm not sucking your or yours, like, no thanks. Oh, maybe yours. Anyways, I think the reason why I was obsessed with it as a kid and why I liked it so much is because the mouth is warmer, it's softer than the hands and the genitals, it's wet. And I do feel like there's something alien about that. So then when you put this alien differences on the genitals, it's like, oh. And it's really pleasurable. And if you do it right, like I said, some people do it wrong. They just go straight in with all the wetness and all the Look, please don't do that. Don't do that. Like, you have to start with kissing. Please start with kissing. Like, don't just la la la. And then is it different on the guy? Which this is what I mean. I'm so excited to have my friend here next week, because I'm gonna go in and ask him, like, is it different? Like, do you need to be kissed or you know, what areas, because, and then I'm gonna do a follow-up to what it is for a woman and how a woman wants it. But today we're talking about the rejecting of it rather than what I want and what I like, right? So it's soft, it's hotter, it's wet, and it's alien. So then when you put it on the genitals, it's like, oh, that's really nice. I want more of that. Funny enough, in certain classes and in certain families and cultures and stuff, they even have a taboo towards sex itself, like let alone oral sex. And it's like, oh, we mustn't talk about stuff like this. Like stuff like this is private. And oh, I must pretend that it's not happening when it's happening. And it's like this cheeky thing like, oh, you're trying to have sex with me. Okay, let's pretend this is not happening. Oh, that was so naughty. And like, where's the grabbing hold of this thing? And like, let me please myself. Let me understand this. Let me use this. Let me utilize this. And there's none of it. There's just like, let's pretend it's not happening. Oh. And meanwhile, the man is ejaculating, right? When you think the woman is ejaculating with you, like this, like pretend we're not looking pleasure thing, but really the woman's not ejaculating. I'm so sorry about that. And where did that come from? Obviously, I know where it came from. It came from religion. It came from restrictions of in slavery and people trying to control others. So then I don't know why they did that, but they did do that. So to control people, they made sexual pleasure bad, and then it really integrated into certain cultures and certain classes of like, we're not allowed to talk about it. It's a taboo subject. It's inappropriate. It's inappropriate to talk about pleasure. It's inappropriate to talk about sex, let alone oral sex. Meanwhile, your man wants you to get on your knees and suck his please. Sorry, I'm just thinking of all these questions I'm gonna ask my friend, because like, and I don't want to give too much away because I'm gonna do a video about this, but I do need to have warning. I need to be teased. Like if you just go straight into doing things, I'll be like, what are you doing? So then I'll be interested to know what the man feels in that respect. So I'm gonna have my friend here to ask all these questions. But it is a taboo conversation in loads of cultures. But like all behaviors and like all restrictions, it was taught to you, and now you think it's reality, you think it's true, so then you live by these morals of like, oh, it's inappropriate to talk about sex, and it's inappropriate to tell you to indulge in conversations. I'm a married woman, I can't speak about this without my, outside of my husband. But then you don't go and talk about it with your husband either, so then you're just in this like masked, closed off state where you're not expanding on your sexuality, and you're not learning, and you're not using it, you're not utilizing it. You're just an instrument to somebody else's sexuality, not even your own, because you don't finish your orgasm, and at best you finish your orgasm on your clitoris, and that's it. At best. I say that, but I'm not inside of every woman's body to really know. But from what I've understood in my experience and in loads of women experiences, they don't finish. It's very hard for them to finish. And the easiest one is the clitoris one. And even then, sometimes it's hard. So yes. Anyways, I think we reject oral sex if it's not based on like this like weird chemical rejection of things. Like for example, like my niece that doesn't like to put her foot in sand, like this like natural like rejection of things. Like if it's not based on that, and because it's a pleasure, I would want that to be healed. Because it's a pleasure, like, are you scared of the pleasure, and are you rejecting the pleasure without really having experienced it? Like my niece, that she hadn't really experienced sand, yet she was rejecting it because of like this one little moment. Whereas me, I love sand. So is there a way that we can fix that? And I feel like that pleasure is worth trying to fix. If you're rejecting pleasure, it's worth trying to fix it, because it's just is great. It's really great. It feels great. It makes you feel great after. I'm telling you, if I had a boyfriend, I would be utilizing all sorts of things at all times. But I don't know how to have a boyfriend. So I will talk about it instead. So guys, if you have this availability, to go and utilize it in public places, in all places. Go and be naughty. You know, like when the Lord tells you that you shouldn't do things outside, they need to like shush, and they need to like go away. Like you should just go and experiment in all places. And also I feel like the more excited you are, like the quicker and the more you're able to maintain your orgasm and stuff. So I feel like we need to excite ourselves. Like go and get excited. Go and do things that are a bit like out of the box, and I feel like you're gonna learn some things about yourself and utilize your functions, because oral sex is one of life's pleasures, so we should be using it, utilizing it. using it unless you have anger towards it. And again, these things I feel like are worth fixing. If you have a problem with oral sex or sex, I think it's worth fixing. And I also feel like it's worth fixing the brains as to why we've become poisoned in the first place. Like people who abuse and people who are not very nice, or they don't care for your emotions, they don't take time to understand you. Like all of this stuff needs to be healed so then we can all enjoy the best of ourselves. And of course there's the other thing of people who actually don't want to give you pleasure. Like typically it's usually for me it's not this way, because for me it's the opposite, but typically I do hear that the men are the ones that don't want to please the woman in that way, and then the woman is the one that pleases the man in that way. For me it has always been the opposite, but I have heard that that's what life is like for a lot of people. So, and could it be as well that a lot of these men, they reject doing that to their woman because they are scared that they're not going to be good at it? Because the hygiene thing, right? We need to talk about the hygiene thing, but that could be fixed, right? These things can be fixed. You could be clean, you could taste nice, you could smell nice. The hygiene can be fixed. We don't have enough education, we're not talking about it, so let's talk about it. That's for another video. But if we could fix the problem of hygiene, then there's no reason apart from your insecurity or your natural rejection of it. There's no other reason why you shouldn't be pleasing each other this way, unless you don't give a about your woman. And in that case, you really should leave this person behind, or man vice versa. You should just leave them behind if they don't want to please you in the way that you desire and want to be pleased. As long as you're clean and you're healthy, there is no reason why you shouldn't be getting those pleasures. So enjoy it. And for me, another point on the self-love list, there's many self-love things on the list. And one of the self-love things is that you deserve to be pleasured. You deserve to be pleasured. Okay, I have introduced the subject of oral sex on my channel. So the next time, which should be next week, you will be hearing from a man himself as to how he likes his pleasure orally and all sorts of questions. And we're not going to be talking embarrassingly because we don't want to mock people. Like for example, when men talk about like, oh, teeth and teeth and teeth, like how about we figure out how to not have, or is it even possible with some people's mouths that to not get the teeth involved? And so then let's stop mocking each other, let's stop talking this way, and let's start being helpful and encouraging and giving advice. So then we could all learn how to suck great. Suck great. I've never called a vagina ever. Why did I just do it there? Right, it's been fun, I think, because I've been fighting this migraine, so I don't even know, but I think it's been fun. Until next time, I will be back with another video. Take care of yourselves, go and enjoy yourselves. Please, if you have somebody that you can enjoy yourself with, please go and do that. And then I will be back to tell you men how to do it on a woman, and women next week. I'll have my friend here to give us some tips. Until next time, bye.